Hey, second graders, it's Mrs. Jones again, math time. We are continuing with multiplication. This is multiplication lesson 4. All right, we've already talked about what multiplication is, that it really is a quick and easy way to do addition. Okay, the answer to a multiplication sentence is called the product. And last week we talked about two different models or ways to represent multiplication. We talked about repeated addition, 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. Okay, and then if we were to write a multiplication sentence, how many times did we write the number? 4. What was the number? 3. 4 times 3. 4 times 3 equals 12. Okay, you can get that answer just by counting by threes. That's what multiplication is, counting by threes, counting by tens, counting by nines. Okay, we also learned about equal groups. Okay, when your groups are equal, they represent or a model of multiplication. To write a multiplication sentence, how many groups are there? There are 4. How many in one group, or how many in each group because they're equal? 3. 4 times 3 is 12. Notice the model represented 4 times 3 repeated addition and equal groups. All right, well, today our model is going to be called and about arrays. Okay, you see arrays a lot, you just don't know that you're seeing them, or that's what they're called. Okay, arrays are when objects are arranged in rows. Okay, rows go horizontal. So they're arranged in rows. Things are also arranged in columns. Okay, columns are vertical. They go down. So whenever you take something and you put them in a pattern where the rows have the same number and the columns are the same number, and we put them in nice straight lines on the columns and the rows, when you see something organized like this, boys and girls, this is showing an array. Okay, it is arranged in rows and columns, and we use this to help us do multiplication. All right, so let's look. Here's an example of an array. These flowers are an example of an array. Now, it may be a little hard to see, but this is called grid paper, and we've used grid paper for several things. All right, the grid paper shows rows and columns of squares. So does this grid paper. All right, so let's talk about how do we write a multiplication sentence using arrays. All right, well, first, we always do the rows. How many rows? Remember, that's the horizontal. 3 rows times how many columns are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now another way to think about the columns, since they all start at the top and they're in this nice straight line, really, if you just count how many is in one row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the top row, that tells you how many columns. And then we answer it, well, if it's 3 rows of 5, then we count by fives, 5, 10, 15. 3 times 5 equals 15. All right, let's do the same thing with the flowers. How many rows going across? 1, 2, 3. Times how many columns? 1, 2, 3. So our multiplication sentence for this array is 3 times 3. So all we have to do is count by threes. 3, 6, 9. 3 times 3 equals 9. All right, now this one may be a little harder for you to see, but the rows going across, there are 4 rows times how many columns, or we can think about it, how many in one row, in the top row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so this is 4 times 10. 4 rows times 10 columns. And this is easy because we just count by tens 4 times. 10, 20, 30, 40. 4 times 10 equals 40. All right, remember last week we talked a little bit about commutative property, how we can use the same numbers just like we do with addition. We switch them, we commute their order, change their order, but they still have the same answer, the same product. All right, I also showed you, though, that the way these multiplication sentences look is different. So let's look at that with this array, 4 times 10. All right, so let's look at this one. This one has 10 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, times 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. 4 times 10, 10 times 4. Okay, the answer is going to be the same. All right, you know what? You can't see it way over there, can you? All right, let me move it over just a little bit. There we go. All right, 4 times 10, 10 times 4. The product is 40 in both of them, but notice they look different. Okay, that is the thing with the commutative property. You can switch the order of the numbers, you get the same product, but if you're drawing a model, the models will look different. All right, whenever we move on to working on our paper, you're going to need the lesson paper 4, and we're going to use the stickers today. All right, so get your pencil, get the lesson 4 paper. You're also going to need worksheet 3, and we're going to talk about times 2, which reminds me, let's stop for just a minute before we start doing our paperwork. Let me erase this, and let's talk about multiplication facts, times 2. I think I'll just use these counters. All right, the thing about times 2 is we learned last week what 2 times 0 is. Anything times 0 is 0. We also learned 2 times 1. If it's times 1, it's the other number. All right, so boys and girls, you already know 2 multiplication facts. All right, so what if we were to keep going? And Mrs. Jones is going to add a few more. Okay, you might even put the multiplication sentence for the other number first. All right, well, let's just see. What did Mrs. Jones teach you last week about times 2? We talked about it several times. Yes, it means the double. So 2 times 2 is just like saying 2 plus 2. What is 2 plus 2? 4. 2 times 3 is just like saying in our head 3 plus 3, 6. 5 times 2 is just doing the double, 5 plus 5, 10. Okay, 6 times 2 would be the double, 6 plus 6 is 12. So all you have to do is think of the double. So if I were to say, boys and girls, what is 4 times 2? 8. What is 7 times 2? 7 plus 7? 14. Okay, what is 2 times 9? 9 plus 9? 18. What is 2 times 3? 3 plus 3? 6. What is 10 times 2? 10 plus 10? 20. Yes, all right, so keep that in mind because you're going to do some more practice with times 2. All right, so turn this off, get the things that you need, and then we'll do video 4, part 2.